everybody, my name is Nate and welcome to another great episode of Journey Kids Online. I cannot wait for you to check out our story, and in fact it's kind of a really cool one, and today actually our game has something to do with it. So let's actually hop into our game. It's going to be awesome. You ready for our game? All right, so this game is going to be so cool. It's called Will It Float? Will It Float requires you to do nothing but to watch. So if you think it's going to float before they throw it in, you give a big thumbs up. But if you think it's going to sink to the bottom, you give a big thumbs down. All right, so let's play this game and let's see how it goes. Will an orange float? Ooh, this is a good one. Will an orange float? Let's see here. Splash. Is it coming? What? Dude, it popped right back up. Yes, it will float. If you give a big thumbs up, you are right. All right, does soap float? Does soap float? That's an interesting one. Does soap float? I mean, I know it gets you clean, but does it float? Let's see here. Oh, no, it doesn't. What? I mean, if your thumbs are up, so close. Ooh, how about mayonnaise? Does mayonnaise float? Whoa, check that out. That's a huge jar. Oh, does mayonnaise float? Is it coming? Is it coming? What? Mayonnaise floats. That's so cool. Oh man, those first few rounds were awesome. In fact, I cannot wait to hop back into the last round here. But I actually want to remind you, there's a bonus round right now on Facebook and on YouTube. So go check it out today. Get to enjoy it. Maybe show it off to a friend and maybe even try it yourself. But be sure to check it out below today. All right, let's see the last round. All right, here's a good one. Will pancake syrup float? I mean, I know it tastes good on waffles and pancakes. That's a really big bottle. Let's see if it does it. Will it float? Is it coming? Look at all that water going out. No! Oh man, it didn't float. That's crazy. All right, so that was a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. Maybe you guessed right on all of them, maybe you didn't. But here's the cool part is our story is all about something floating. It's actually all about somebody walking. So we're actually gonna hop right back into that now. Let's do it. All right, I hope you enjoyed that game and maybe you can try it at your house. Tell me how it goes. Enjoy seeing what floats and what doesn't. Today's story is actually all about floating and it's actually about Jesus doing something really, really cool, walking on the water. Have you ever thought about that? Walking on the water. It's probably one of those famous stories of Jesus' miracles and showing his power. And as we step into that, I want you to think about our big picture question. So what's our big picture question? Why did Jesus perform miracles? Why did Jesus perform miracles? Well, let's check out the video and discover a little bit more as we see it.
Jesus had been teaching crowds of people by the Sea of Galilee. It was getting late, so he told his disciples to get into the boat and go to the other side of the sea. Jesus sent the crowds away and went up on the mountain to pray by himself. That evening, the boat was far from the shore. The wind blew and the waves tossed the boat around. Jesus was still on the mountain alone. Around 3 a.m, Jesus came toward his disciples walking on the sea. When the disciples saw Jesus, they were terrified. "It's a ghost!" they cried. Right away, Jesus spoke to them. "Have courage, it's me. Do not be afraid." Peter answered, "Lord, if it really is you, tell me to come to you on the water." So Jesus said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and started walking on the water toward Jesus. But when Peter saw how strongly the wind was blowing, he was afraid. Peter began to sink. "Lord, save me," he cried. Jesus reached out his hand and grabbed Peter. Jesus said, "You have little faith. Why do you doubt?" They got into the boat and the wind stopped. Then everyone in the boat worshiped Jesus and said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Jesus proved that he can be trusted. His miracles, teaching, death, and resurrection show that he is who he says he is. Only Jesus can save us when we look to him in faith.
Man, what a cool story. I don't know if you can remember, but it was just a few weeks ago we talked about Jesus calming the storm. So if you remember, Jesus was taking a nap and they woke him up because the boat was going every which way. So Jesus has the power over the storm, but today, Jesus is a little further away. So let's think about our big picture question first. Why did Jesus perform miracles? 1, Jesus performed miracles to give God glory, to show off God. 2, to prove that he is God's son, the Son of God. And 3, to care for people. Today's story had all 3 in it. But if we think about our previous stories where he calmed the waves and calmed the storm, it shows not only his power today and not only those things, but that Jesus, even when he seems and even physically is far away, he still can reach us. He still can get to us. He still can save us. And that is what we call actually faith, that we trust that Jesus is there to take care of us. Because see, right now, Jesus doesn't live on earth. Jesus is in heaven, but he's with us. And just because he's physically far away doesn't mean he's spiritually far away. We can talk to him at any time, and he's there to help us, and he has the power to help us. Why? Because God made it like that. All right, so today's experiment's a little different, so I actually want you to hop into it, and I look forward to hearing about how it goes. All right, boys and girls, today our experiment is actually something you get to do at home. So you need somebody to help you do it. All right, so I actually want you to find somebody that you trust. Maybe it's a mom or a dad or even an older brother or sister, and I want them to set up an obstacle course, maybe in your living room or maybe even like down your hallway. And I want them to lead you through it without you seeing it by just using their voice, and you have to trust them. And I want you to think about and feel the idea of how many times you want to peek. Like how many times you want to see if they're trying to trick you or see if they're trying to mislead you, and try your hardest to obey them. Now, sometimes it's kind of fun. So you can pause the video right now, or you can even do it later and have a little fun with it. But as you think about those things, I want you to contemplate the fact that sometimes the person leading us may be maybe not so clear, right? But Jesus is always clear, right? You can use the bandana like this or even a mask that go over your eyes. But whatever you use, I want you to think about the feelings you have and maybe how anxious you are. Then I want you to try to practice it a couple times and see how fast you might get. Because, eventually those practices, well, you don't need to hear it all the time, right? When you start doing good things, sometimes it's actually easier because you practice it up. So our experiment is actually for you to try it out. And I cannot wait to hear it. And so share with me. Let me know how it goes, because I cannot wait to hear how it goes down in your house. So I look forward to it. All right, let's hop back into our story. All right, I hope you try that experiment at home. I hope you enjoy it as a family, and I really do look forward to hearing about how it goes down at your house. All right, so as we walk through those things, it's an interesting thing. We keep using this word faith. Faith is well, really simply defined, faith is the belief in something unseen, or believing that something is going to happen when we can't see how it might happen or understand how it might happen. And many things we have is just experience. So like we know that there's going to be food in the fridge because there might be always food in the fridge. But if any of you have ever lived through moments where not everything was available, you may not have that same faith that there's going to be food in the cabinets when you get hungry. But if you've never had that, why would you doubt that? Well, Jesus is there. Jesus' first moments as he separates out from the disciples, well, a storm comes and he proves once again that he can reach them no matter where they're at and no matter what's happening. Well, it's the same thing as we live through our lives, but how do we learn to grow in our faith? How do we understand it? And in fact, Pastor Brian shares a really great answer to a question of how do we grow our faith? So let's check out that.
Hi there, I'm Pastor Brian, and it's time for Questions from Kids. Julia from East Orange, New Jersey asks,
how can I have a stronger faith?
Oh, Julia, that is a question we all need to keep asking ourselves. Great question. So here's the thing. We know that faith needs to be grown. It's kind of like a muscle. Some people have called it a muscle that you have to keep exercising and stretching it so it grows and becomes stronger. And so how do we do that? Well, there are a few ways that we can do that. The first one I can think of is by spending more time in the Bible. The more we read the Bible, the more we study it, the more we understand who God is, the way He works, the greater confidence we have in Him. We know how we're to live. And so reading the Bible is perhaps one of the greatest ways you can grow in your faith. Other ways are prayer, talking with God, asking Him to grow you, asking Him to help you learn and to live on faith. Another way is by worshiping, being part of a church. This is why it's so important that we're part of a family of faith and we gather regularly and worship together and study together and talk through these things, learn from one another. But all these things lead us to this one idea that I think is really important you hear. You have to stretch your faith. You have to put yourself in positions that are uncomfortable at times to grow in that faith. Think again about muscles. Think about, lifting weights. Lifting weights is not easy. You have to strain and stretch yourself and you add more weight and there are times you're like, I don't know if I can do this, but you keep pushing. And it's through that exertion that your muscles grow stronger. If you never put weights on the barbell and just lifted an empty barbell, you're not gonna really gain muscle. So it's the same thing with our faith. If we're never stretching ourselves, if we're never stepping into those uncomfortable areas of life, if we're never sitting down with that person in the cafeteria and praying that God opens a conversation to talk about your faith with him or her, then you're not gonna grow as much. It's through those uncomfortable, stretching moments that we really grow. So I wanna encourage you to do that. Share your faith with other people. Go on mission trips. Live for Christ day by day, and you will see your faith grow by leaps and bounds, I believe, when you do that. So I hope that has been helpful, and again, that's something that we all need to be doing. So question back for you, who or what are you looking to be secure? Where is your faith found?
I love Pastor Brian's answers, and I would completely and utterly agree with them. As we learn to grow in faith, a lot of it is experiences. A lot of it is trusting that Jesus will take care of us. But we also have the Word of God. We have the Bible where He says He's going to take care of us. So we can trust in those things. We don't have to guess. It's not a hope. It is actually faith that we can believe He says He's going to do what He's going to do. He didn't just go, well, I guess I'll take care of you sometimes. He says, I will take care of you. He also didn't just say, hey, well, some things will happen. He said, in fact, more things will happen when I'm gone than when I'm here. Those things are powerful, and those are promises. God does not go back on His promises. Because why? He has the power. He has the power to complete those things. So as you think about that in your own life, God has given us so many things. We also need to trust that what we're going through is the right thing. So just like your experiment, whenever you get to do that, is you have to trust the person talking to you. You need to know that they're not going to mislead you. And as you experience that, I want you to be thinking about of how much are you listening, and then maybe how much do you open your eyes? How much do you maybe look around and double check and make sure they're not, trying to trick you or trying to lie to you even. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? How much you're going to trust the person that's leading you. How much do you trust Jesus? That's a question I think you need to answer every day as you walk through life and as you understand it deeper. I cannot wait to see each and every one of you very, very soon. In fact, I have a big announcement. We are reopening Journey Kids September 13th. That Sunday is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for you to join me and my friends. We have been preparing for this for a few weeks, and well, frankly, it's just going to be amazing. So keep watching and to discover how awesome it's going to be. And I'll see you in just a few weeks. Have a great day. Bye.